The number one biggest issue any online business has is attracting a bunch of people that can't afford the service or the product that you provide. So getting people who actually pull out their credit card and give you their money, pay you for your service, that's always the biggest problem. More volume, more quality leads. I'm going to explain something that you could be subconsciously doing right now in your marketing and your advertising that's repelling all the best clients and the people that can actually afford you. My name is Chris. I've grown online coaching businesses myself to 7 figures selling to the brokest audience, musicians. I show them how to make more money, so if I can sell to them, you can sell to whatever industry you're in. Does this sound familiar? You're getting followers, you're getting people who are messaging you, interested in your product or your service, but once you get to the end of the conversation, once you book the call, whatever, you get to the end point and they're like, I just don't have the money, I can't afford it right now, let me think about it, I'll come back. And then they're gone forever and you never hear from them again. It took me a long time and a lot of advertisement money to realize the main reason we attract people that can't afford what we have is because we're saying the wrong thing in our marketing that is bringing those people in. And some of those things are actually repelling the people who can actually afford you. The biggest factor is your pricing. We always assume that if we lower our price, we're going to get more people that will buy from us because they can afford it. It sounds very logical. Here's the thing though, the people that have solved their financial issues, the people that have worked hard to make the money that they make now that can actually afford things, take pride in the fact that they don't have to look at prices every time they're going shopping now. This was something hard for me to realize because growing up, I just never really had that much money. And so subconsciously, I was always looking at price first. How much does this cost? Is this even feasible for me to do? Because if you don't have a whole lot of money, that's the first thing that you think about is how much money can I save before you even ask about, well, what's the value of this product? What am I going to get in return? And it's a broke mentality. I get it. But ever since I started making a little bit of money with my business online, everything shifted. I started thinking about like, I don't even have to look at this, right? I know I can afford it. I just want to know what it does for me. So then my bandwidth to buy things changes. That means my perspective on what's important starts to shift. I start to think about, what is this actually going to do for me? How is it going to make me feel? Or how is it going to buy more of my time back? And that's the funny thing is once you solve your financial issues, you start looking for ways to buy your own time back. That's what's important to people who have money. So in your advertisement, in your marketing, if you're constantly talking about, I am the cheapest in the industry, I have competitive prices, these people charge this much, I charge way less, guess who you're going to attract? You're going to attract people who have to consider how much something costs before they look at the value of something. Is that the type of person that you want to bring on? That's the type of person that you want to work with. People who have to look at the cost and they only are fixated on how much something costs are not fun to deal with. Because as much value as you give them and as much of a great service as you give them, it doesn't matter because they can't look past the wall of the cost. It's frustrating for everybody because if they could just look past this wall that's in front of them, they could see that on the other side of it is this massive pot of gold that could help them get out of the situation that they're in right now where they can't afford anything, but they can't look past that because there's this massive block. Now, if you talk about how your product is the best and what it does for somebody once they buy it or once they're done working with you, that's when you start attracting people who can afford these services because those are the more important things and that's what they actually care about. If you talk about cheap prices, it kind of hits their ego and they're like, I don't want the cheapest thing. And if you're the cheapest, they're going to assume that you're not the best. It's just like if I were to hand you a Rolex right now and I said, I'll give you this for $1,000. What's your first assumption? Well, that's like a $20,000 watch. Why is it so cheap? There must be something wrong with it. If you're going to sell your service that way, what are the clients who can actually afford you going to think? Why are they the cheapest? There must be something wrong. So logically, on paper, it makes sense if I lower my price and I'm cheaper, more people will buy. But truthfully, deeper on a subconscious level, this just attracts more people who are looking for pricing and looking for the cheapest option. If you go to Walmart, the first thing that they advertise to you is how much cheaper things are and how much of a cost savings that you're going to get. Most people don't even care if it's an off-brand or if it doesn't even work that well. What they care about is the dollars that they're saving. It starts to be this mental game when you're a discount shopper. You're like, how cheap can I get something? I'll buy it just because it's cheap. If you want to attract people that can afford things, it's the other way around. They start buying things just because it's expensive. Do you think somebody goes into the Gucci store looking for a shirt because they want to get the best deal? They could go to Walmart and get a Hanes shirt for much cheaper, but they buy it because it is expensive. And I know this is tough to wrap your head around, but some people buy things just because it's expensive. Do you think people flex in a Lamborghini because they're like, I got this for $10,000? They're flexing it because they spent way more money on it than most people spend on cars. They buy things because it is expensive. I say all this to say, make that one shift in your marketing and the way that you position your business, and it's going to change the people that you're going to attract. So if you stop talking about in your ads, discounts, sale, I'm cheaper, I'm the cheapest in the industry, to shift and say, this is what's going to happen once you're done working with me. Your life is going to look different because of this. It's going to be different this way. You're going to be able to do this. You're going to gain all this. Just that shift of being on the other side of the market is literally going to attract the people that care more about that. Because if somebody is a price shopper and they don't see a price immediately and how cheap it is, they're going to be like, you're not even transparent about the price. I don't want to do business with you, because that's what they care about. Whereas people who value what they get first will be attracted to the message that you're putting out. This is how your life is going to change. This has all been from experience. I tried selling products that were $50, $20, $100. And that was the constant thing, is like, how can I get it cheaper, cheaper, cheaper? And then these people would buy the things as soon as it was the cheapest price. They would return it anyways because they're like, actually, I want this $10 back so that I can buy French fries or something like that. So it's just a headache anyways when you attract those types of people. Whereas it's easier to sell people into like a $5,000, $10,000 thing. They don't care about, oh, I spent this money. They just care about, what are you going to give me in return? And if you have something amazing, your product, your service is amazing, by default, ground zero, it should be amazing, and you can deliver on that, that's what they care about, and that's how you're going to find the best clients to work with that are willing to pay you the most. Subscribe if you want to learn more business marketing tips like this as an entrepreneur. If you want to learn how to grow your own high-ticket coaching business, I'll leave a free training down in the link below.